My shop, very, very fine shop. It may not look like much, but hopefully it will be much better very soon. Hey there, everyone. Okay, this is my tool room in what I call S1, Shed 1. We're working on a few different plans on rebuilding this particular building. Really, it's two buildings back to back, and they're both built on concrete slabs with footings. So our ideas are to either tear down both sheds and start over. The way the sheds are built at the moment, as you can see, it's tin on the walls, but that's not the exterior. It's actually plywood over tin. It's very strong. This building, it's quite windy out right now, and this building does not shake at all. Whoever initially built this structure, they built it very strong. Even though all the 2x4s are 24-inch on center, at least 24 inches on center, but they have the cross braces and they also have diagonal braces. But then they went over the exterior with plywood and board and batten, as you can see, and then they framed out soffits and fascia and all that nice lovely stuff. Really, the problem that we're having is what to do with the building. Because all around our village, there's all kinds of different backyard structures that are permitted and that we know we could build because it shows precedent on the other parts of the town. But what to do with our building? We have a two-car garage in front, which we are also planning on putting a through garage door so we can get through to the backyard, which that has to be done sooner than later because we have a lot of landscaping to do. But what to do with the building? Obviously it has to stay. We don't want to tear it down because it's grandfathered in with the concrete slab. The slab's actually in reasonably good condition as well. So we have a couple different ideas. Where I'm standing right here is basically the corner of the concrete slab. So the first idea is to wipe out both buildings and start over. I don't really want to do that because the front half is in really good condition. It's just the back half, which I'll show in a second, that's not very good. Okay, here's the back half, what I call S4, which the plan is this is going to become the workspace and the front half will become the tool room. So the few ideas that we have is to just continue this shed roof line up to a peak and take over this space right here where the Ford and the LT1000 are. So that's one of the ideas, because again, this is built on a very solid foundation. It's concrete with concrete footings. I don't know how deep the footings go at the moment, but I will definitely be looking into seeing how deep the footings are. Again, this part here is also plywood over tin, so it's very strong. And this is the backing, I believe, to the other shed. But I think it could actually be two actually fully separate sheds. I don't really know. I haven't been up on the roof yet to see what that looks like. Also, I'm kind of hesitant on getting on this roof, as you can see the way the structure is built. It's 2x6s on the flat with collar ties, and yeah, and those are only like 1x6s. So I'm kind of hesitant on getting on top of this roof. And as you can see right there, there are holes in this roof as well. And right there, that beam there is busted, but most likely it's nailed to that sidewall. Also, the back beam, as you can see, it's been scabbed on right there, going all the way along. This section here is half the size of the front section, but again, the initial structure is good. So like the base structure is good. Okay, back in S1, again, much more pleasant to be in here than to be in S2. So, as you can see, there's that back wall. I don't know if that's the actual wall of the other shed, or if it's two pieces of tin back to back. I really don't know how they built it. I haven't really looked into it. Luckily, a lot of stuff in here would be reasonably easy to move. As you can see, I haven't really unpacked much of anything. I haven't showed inside the house yet, but there's a project we're working on inside the house first before we start working on this. But this needs to be decided on before we do the landscaping. So once we decide on what we're doing with the landscaping, we're going to decide on what we're doing with this building here. So my initial idea is to just about tear down the entire back half and build a whole new building. on top of the existing foundation and taking over the actual side foundation as well. Again, keeping this entire front half. I like this front half. It's structurally sound. I'll be getting rid of all the collar ties, adding 2x4s back in the center of every bay. We'll be insulating this building and bringing power over. And that's another story, where to bring the power over. I'll talk about that in a second. And then the back half will build a full height. This is probably the same height as this here, so it's 8 feet right now, I believe. So build 8-foot walls at the back half with a gambrel barn-style roof on it, and then tie it into the front roof. That's just an idea I have. I'd like to have upper-level storage as well, and then build, like I said, build the walls back there at the same height as these front walls, and then down the road tear this roof off of this front half, because it's just open trusses really, and it's not that badly done, but as you can see, that center one right there has definitely been repaired and scabbed together. Got some pretty nice boards up there as well, which I'll have to get down. I put the lights up there just to have some light in here. And anyways, then eventually tear the roof off of this part here, and then build the gambrel roof on here as well, and take over the front half of the patio. The whole idea is to build it and kind of keep the structure in place, if you know what I mean. So that's what we're thinking about doing at the moment, or wiping the entire building out and starting from scratch. It's really one of two different ideas. One, you kind of need other stuff to be put in place. The other, you don't really. So the way I'm leaning towards, I don't have to put other stuff in place to build my structure. Okay, so I'm back outside now, basically where the corner of the, when it's fully done, the building will be. So the corner of the back building will be roughly right here, basically in line with S2. So right about here. So there's the roof line right there, which will be saved, and this area here will be taken over with a full height, so same height as the front building. The tree will have to unfortunately get trimmed. The tree will not be cut down, so that's another thing we're working around. We're working on saving this maple tree as well. So that big limb right there will most likely have to come off, and then we'll build the structure here. So we'll build it pretty much on the slab, and we'll come up off the slab a little bit with some concrete. So that's just the ideas that we're working around, and the ideas we have going forward to this spring and going into the summer with rebuilding this structure. Now for power. Right where I'm standing right here is all this concrete pads, like the removable ones, like the 2x2 concrete pads. So these can all be removed relatively easily. And right back over there by Emily is the corner of the basement. About 5 or 6 feet to her left is the corner of the basement. The basement is finished, but I don't mind ripping out part of the ceiling to get a line through and get power out here. The panel is on the other side of the house, just behind Emily, in the basement. So to run the hydro won't be too bad. I'm debating on the actual feed. I'd like a 60 amp service out here. I think that would actually serve really well. If anyone else has any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. I can't go 100 amp. We already have a 100 amp sub panel in the house, so 100 amp is out of the playing field. Also 100 amp, I don't need that much power out here. So I think 60 amp will cover me really well for what I need out here, and we should be able to do that without any problems. Also, when the 100 amp panel was put in the house, that was put in the future of putting a 60 amp sub panel in anyways. So it's all been restructured to basically have a 60 amp sub panel out here, or a max of a 60 amp sub panel out here. So the only issues we're having is the concrete slab. The concrete slab is continuous right here underneath all the snow, and where to bring it in. So that's why we're debating on tearing the entire building down and starting over, or working with what we have and just cut a trench in the concrete and put the sub panel right there in that corner. And the only other thing we're thinking of is future, we wouldn't mind putting the garage door in on this building as well. So that's why we're also leaning towards tearing it down and starting over, because we wouldn't mind being able to have a garage door, being able to get stuff in there, bigger stuff in there other than riding lawnmowers. So there's the plans for the shop. There's the different ideas we have for the shop. Don't get me wrong, this building is far superior from what I had. So sorry about that. I ran out of memory. But anyways, like I was saying, this building is far superior from what I had at the old house. I'm happy with what I have for right now. I know a lot of people have far less, but we're just thinking about in the future on how to improve it and bring up the value of the overall house. And the way this building is currently, it's kind of an eyesore, so it needs to be taken care of. It's definitely nowhere near as bad as the old shop at the old house, but it's something to work with. We at least have a good foundation to start with. It just needs to be improved upon. So again, if anyone has any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if anyone has any suggestions about the power situation, again, leave it in the comment section below. I do read all my comments, and I try to get back to as many as I can, unlike some people. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep redneck like always, and please share a comment.